I'm Deborah Atkinson, host of the Flipping 50 TV show and the Flipping 50 podcast. In over 34 years in the fitness industry, I have one most frequently asked question. Well, two. There's a close second. One is about how to lose belly fat or get a flat belly. And the second is usually how to relieve back pain or avoid it. And 80% of us have back pain at some point in our lives. 80% of those of us who do have it recur during the year. So it is a serious problem and it can be debilitating. I've been there and I know. So since I was 24, I was a victim of a horseback riding incident that led me to have at least decades of a much better understanding of what it actually takes to first have great core exercise that avoids injuring the back and how to help people avoid back pain or recover post that acute pain. And that's what I'm going to show you now. So here's the thing, it's not sexy. It starts very small to get very specific and very deep into the core muscles that support your spine and are your personal girdle. So we're going to start with bracing. If you've ever been told to draw your navel to your spine and hollow out, I want you to forget and erase all of that. That makes you weaker, not stronger. What I do want you to do is lay your hands across your rib cage, the bottom of your ribs and the top of your hips. So you can feel both, and I want you to brace. Just tighten up as if somebody were throwing a ball at you, and what you can do is pretend you're blowing out a straw. Take a breath in and then exhale as if you're blowing out a straw, and you can feel your diaphragm push the air out, feel it getting tighter. So all I want you to do is to hold on to that thought. From there, take a breath in again, exhale, and what I want you to notice is there a little space under the small of your back or not? If you have a big curve in the small of your back, you've probably got a little bit of a space there. If you have a flat back or you're really pushing that back down, you have got no space at all. Either is okay, but here's where I'd like you to go. We really want to get used to holding neutral so that I could put a piece of paper under here and send mail to the other side very easily. And that's where ideally we'd love you to be. If you need to, take the back and press it toward the floor. That's okay. It'll give you more stability while you're learning. What I want you to do is to hold that thought. Don't let your lower back wiggle. Keep your hands here so you know. I want you to pick one leg up so you're at 90 degrees. Put it back down. Don't let anything go. You're going to take the other side and then do the same again. So it's one leg and then down, and the other leg and then down. Now for you, it looks like there's not very much going on. For me, I can tell I'm working. So when that foot comes down, my lower back actually wants to go with it. So I am working to keep my back flat on the floor and set it down nice and easy. So it's just contracting that lower abdominal wall. Being still, we call it stabilization. And it works to brace those muscles in the way that you actually work all day long. When you're sitting or you're standing with good posture, that's really what should be happening. We're making that job a little tougher now so we can overload the muscles and they get stronger. So standing and sitting becomes easier. So you would do this 15 times or until you lost it, or up to 15 times, meaning the right leg up and down and the left leg up and down being 1 all the way to 15. That's called a single leg march. And all I'm going to show you next is a pelvic tilt. This one's about mobility, so it's not really going to feel like a lot of work to you necessarily. I want you to inhale, and if you can, hollow out, let the lower back come off, and then exhale, take your tailbone off the floor and your lower back down, thinking of your hips as kind of a rocking chair back and forth. Now do remember this, while you're doing the rocking chair or any of these exercises, what works and helps one person may hurt or harm another. So if anything that I'm showing you bothers you, realize it's time to stop and listen to your body. So you may already know just by watching that it's not appropriate for you because you've already tried something similar. Back and forth. If you're still with me, you're just exhaling. What I want you to think about here is not using a lot of pressure through your feet and your heels, but trying to put the work through your core. So you're going to use your abs or abdominal wall to draw in and push the lower back down so my feet are fairly light, and then inhale and release and let the lower back come up. Exhale. What we're getting here is mobility through the hip and this connection with the hip and the rib cage through the lower back. So the more mobile your hips are, the more we have strength through the core, the better. We don't want that locked up. We want just a little bit of mobility, stemming from the hips and releasing through the hamstrings and the hip flexors both. Exhale and curl down and under. And that's a pelvic tilt. Just back and forth right there. You can walk your feet out a little bit further and repeat it. And now we're taking your feet out of the action, making you need to use your core in the center just a little bit more. And finally, if that feels okay, you're going to take it all the way out and you'll do 10 repetitions at each one of these stations. Easy pelvic tilt right here. Now, this one you may be more familiar with. Bend your knees to come over to your side, to come up, especially if you've got something going on with your back. On all fours, we're going to do what's called a cat-cow back. If you're familiar with yoga, you know this one. So although we don't want a lot of forward flexion or a lot of spinal flexion, meaning we don't want crunches and we don't want sit-ups because they're injurious for you if you have a back problem, and they cause back problems even though you may not realize it. What I want you to do here is tuck the crown of your head down, take your knees down and tailbone down, try to really hollow and create a U, and then inhale, your tailbone comes up and your chest comes up. Exhale, tailbone down, push the hands into the ground, head down, and then inhaling, and you're opening up. Again, when you first do this, you may feel like you don't have very much range of motion, and that's okay. It will get better and release. So this is cat-cow back. The very last one that I'm going to show you here with my friend in the way is fingertips are going to curl in slightly, and I'm going to take my right hand and thread it underneath. So I'm going to rest on my ear, my shoulder and head are down, and then move my hand out in front of my wrist to inhale and push through this hand so I can feel a great stretch right across the small of my back. I'm going to inhale and release the tension. My hand is light. Exhale and push down. And then inhale and I'm going to come up again. I'm going to do that to the other side, only I'm going to turn around and hope I can show you without interruption. I'm going to dig under, head and shoulder down. I'm going to move my hand out right in front of this other wrist. And as I exhale, I'm going to push this hand in almost as if I were going to do a push-up. When I do that, I'm leaving both knees on the floor, feeling the stretch across the small of my back. I'm going to inhale and release this tension, and then exhale, and once again, I'm going to press to get a good stretch, not holding my breath, and bringing that back up. So all I've just done are some very gentle exercises for my lower back. First, to gain a little strength, starting to wake up those deeper core muscles. So we're not talking about that frontal six-pack kind of muscle, because those won't come if that underlying strength is not there. We're talking about the things that really protect you from injury and make you stronger when you're lifting boxes or groceries or bending over, picking something up out of the back seat or the trunk of the car. You need those deep core muscles. Those types of things and mobility through your spine are the best place to start. If anything bothered you, leave that out And as these are things that help you do everyday types of actions and have everyday types of mobility that you're using, go ahead and do them on a daily basis. And if your muscles get fatigued after a few repetitions, stop with a few repetitions, and you'll be better off doing morning and evening or morning and noon and evening exercises than trying to do a long stretch of exercises. And I'll be back with more about the back. So subscribe if you'd like to this playlist, and you'll be able to come back when there's more here.